KWF Hilger has been in existence in one shape or another for, oh God, 140 years. I'm the third generation. My grandfather, Dr. Hilger, founded and owned HOUGH, which you probably know. They were a very famous calendar machine builder. So he made them famous worldwide. We actually still today fill roles for the HOUGH calendars that are still working. There are a couple in Germany still. And then HOUGH was sold to Escher Wyss in '74. But my family retained the big property we're on today, where the workshop has always been, and my family retained the part that made calendar rolls, because obviously it had gained serious expertise because it made the calendar rolls for the calendar machines. So there was a worldwide clientele, and this company was run by my father, Mr. Paul Hilger, who also did, my family did a collaboration with HOUGH Lakshmi. That ceased in about '86. Because the family Takathy actually took some of the know-how to India. And then the workshop, my father sold the workshop to KWF, and subsequently that became Voigt. And it was always based on this property. And then we had the chance to repurchase the whole workshop. At the end of 2010, there was me and my father, who at that stage was 86. And I, from day one, ran KWF, and I'm today sole shareholder of KWF. So there's been a long tradition of roles, whether it is for textile, whether it's for paper. And all the staff here have at least 20 to 25 years roll making experience. So yes, it's just been a very long tradition in the family, basically. And my ancestors also founded some of the biggest paper mills in Europe, which Feldmühle, you know, rice hulls. So it's a long, paper especially is a long tradition. Always known the business because I used to run around the workshop from my dad when I was little, and my dad used to tell me amazing stories, like the late operator would use a huge diamond, so I'd be fascinated. So I played in the workshop when I was little, and through my grandfather and my father, it was sort of, I grew up with it. But I then went my own way, which was a lot of consulting, also media background, and I had the opportunity to live in 5 countries, and you know, I have 3 different university degrees, and I used to work in senior management in London for a long time, and also did a lot of consulting in America. And it was always based on cleaning up a company. But I actually originally came because we owned a second company, which is this enormous property, which was originally built to house HOUGH. So it's 20,000 square meters with tons of buildings on it. It was HOUGH's home. But of course, when the big calendar company went with Escher Wyss, you had lots of office buildings that weren't being used. And so I arrived in Germany at the end of 2010 from the UK and also from Italy. And the property company was close to going bankrupt. So I had to first fix this. And then my father had this notion at the age of 86 because, you know, Voigt said, well, we're going to close the workshop. So my father sort of said, well, let's just buy the workshop back. So I became CEO from day one of KWF, and I did literally everything, including designing the logo and all of that and getting everything done. So it was literally a, you know, sink or swim situation, but I've had those kind of situations quite a number of times in my life. And those are the real challenges. And still today, I literally do everything. I speak to the clients directly. I'm, you know, deal with the whole technology. I'm actually head of the workshop. I do all the planning and all the client liaisons and everything. So that's why it's wonderful to have a small company that you own, because you can lead it the way you want, and I can get things done without any bureaucracy or without any fail. So, and it's just wonderful, where before all my life, it's been more an idea-based work. You understand what I mean? When after a tough day at work today, where sometimes I'm so exhausted, you know, you sort of can't count to 10, I go to the workshop next door and, you know, I see my big presses, I see the forklifts and the steel, etc. And it just makes you really proud, because you're making something. And that is really, I think, the clincher for me. You're actually making. No, I didn't buy the company. I bought the know-how, I bought the machines, and basically, Anthony Ashton, you know, the former CEO, and I get along like a house on fire. We believe the same things also about roles and how, you know, the know-how and family and tradition and all of this. He approached me you know, he was going to close down because also, you know, he is in retirement age, etc., and a variety of reasons. And I flew over to England and I looked at all of it, and HOUGH has been our main competitor. And, you know, we can see when we look at roles, we know exactly whether they were done by us or HOUGH, for example, so we can always tell. And so what happened is that I made an agreement with Anthony. We bought a lot of the machines. We bought all the technical know-how, the copyrights of everything. And so we had alone 16 huge trucks coming from the UK to Germany before, you know, the original Brexit date of March 29. And these were big machines and they all had to be installed and everything. So I was also fortunate to be able to recruit the main technical people and workshop staff from RHL. So the head of the press shop, RHL, works for me, head of the machine shop. So all the important people have actually moved to Germany and work for me here now. And Anthony is the chief technical officer for KWF. So RHL was closed, and basically, you know, we continue with the products, and half of the workshop is here effectively, you know. The lathes that weigh 26 tons were brought over and all of those things. So it's KWF, and the thing is, I think people didn't really know KWF because I never advertised. We were fortunate enough through, you know, previous clients of this workshop, they continued with us and they saw we made the best rolls. And so it was a question of, you know, one client telling another textile company or another paper industry company about us. We've never advertised anywhere. And I'm proud to say that we have the top European textile companies working for us. I mean, the top of the top, whose quality requirements are huge. And when you make rolls for them, and you haven't had a recall in something like 3 years, you can be extremely proud because their quality control is insane. And also the same with paper companies. So thankfully, it's been word of mouth that has allowed us to, you know, to have a full workshop and to have a very prestigious client roster. We do, first of all, rolls for the paper industry, which is a variety of different covers. We do rolls for the textile industry, which I suppose you're the most interested in. Well, we do cotton rolls, pure cotton rolls, which are still being used a lot. We do, of course, we have a brand new cover, which is called SIMTEX. which is, it's used in cotton more and more. And actually, we're working for two of the main textile machine builders in Europe. And SIMTEX is being put more into textile calendar. SIMTEX is a fantastic cover because it's very, you can use it in a variety of ways. And what it is, it can hold, it holds temperatures of up to 250 degrees. With a counter roll steel, for example, being able to be 400 degrees. It can be used, we can make them in a shore range between 70 or 90, so you can get all different kinds of shore range. And it can handle a lot of pressure, and it's also used, for example, here in Europe by some big companies for high-speed embossing. So you have an enormous speed of the machines. This cover is versatile, it can be used in paper, it can be used in textile, it can be used in embossing. And what it is, we make the cover by hand here in Germany. So it is more expensive than your average cotton cover, but it has twice the lifetime. Because it doesn't get damaged very easily. You know, cotton rolls, for example, get damaged very quickly through heat, etc. You've got the, you know, you've got the different markings, or you've got the burnout on the edges, all those things. SIMTEX doesn't get that. So what you actually get is very long regrinding intervals, and the cover actually lasts twice as long. So increasingly here in Europe, it's being used quite a bit, and by some very famous names who increasingly put it in their machines, especially when you've got calendars that have several cotton rolls, that way you put the SIMTEX in the hottest position, things like that. And people are very, very happy with it because the marking is also low, etc. And then, of course, we do SimCast, which, you know, it's the polyamide rolls, which RHL used to do. We do them here now. It's the same roll, a very good quality. Well, and then we do just a range of embossing rolls like Super Elastic, which Richard Hough used to do, which is excellent because it's for fine embossing, fine patterns. And you can actually wash out the pattern. So you don't, there's no need to regrind. So we do a variety, and then we do, of course, squeezing rolls, which, first of all, no-lap. We've been very busy with no-lap. No-lap is for viscose. We've been doing quite a lot of those. And you have Roberto and Robertex, and Robertex being the one, the squeezing roll, where you have actually a more chemically challenged environment. And this is one of the latest things we've been doing. We have a client in Pakistan who has an extremely chemically challenging environment. And what we've been doing since the end of last year is re-engineering with an R&D lab and a supplier, re-engineering the previous Robertex material in order to fit all these very different and very, very challenging chemicals in this, in order to make this new roll. And it's taking us a long time because in order to make this material, there are 4 or 5 different elements that all have to work. And to try to get each element has taken time. And we actually went into production making this material about 3 weeks ago. Again, you find that something on paper is different than in actual production. So we've had some production problems making it, so it's being rerun now. But that will be the new Roberto, hopefully going to Pakistan at the beginning of next month. So we're forever working because this is very important to understand about KWF as well. My absolute priority is materials. Everybody can make a roll. Okay, we have a certain know-how where we know little tricks, etc., that make a roll better. But above all, the ingredients that we have to make this roll are the best of the best. And people always look at me bemused when I say that from a purchase price of a roll, about 60% of that, sometimes even more, is materials. So it's the best we can find because that makes a good roll. You can't, even the smallest element, you can't skim on price because it makes one roll that's good. I mean, it takes a long time. Like SIMTEX has been developed and, you know, readjusted over the last 5 years. We've now, in the last 2 years, have had the right SIMTEX. And because calendars are getting hotter and faster and using more pressure and speed, etc., SIMTEX is the greatest product because it's moved with the times, and in some respects, it's indestructible. So I always say too, I've got, you know, a client or two who have really old calendar machines. They're for textile and they contain cotton rolls. And, you know, with old calendar machines, they tend to be a little bit unbalanced. They're not working smoothly, etc. You've got friction, things like that. So the cotton rolls tend to burn very quickly or get damaged very quickly. And so you can put a SIMTEX in because it just can take it. Do you know what I mean? So I always think that's also a really good use for it. Well, we've been previously predominantly focused on Europe and large parts of Europe. We are obviously, thankfully, through the gauze. The gauze used to be RHL's agents, are ours now. We're doing a lot in India. We're doing a lot in Indonesia. I'm also personally doing quite a bit in China, Brazil as well. And we are also hoping to focus on America in the future. But I'm, again, as I described beforehand, I'm not one of those people that sort of wants to grab everything. We do one step at a time. We make sure that in a new territory, we make good rolls, we have a good reputation. And once that sets, you can try the next. We work together very strongly with, I'm not going to mention the names, but you know who they are, the two. We have been making lots and lots of new rollers for them. Of course, I can't vouch for whether every calendar they deliver is our rolls, but I certainly know that a lot of them, we've made a lot of rolls for them, especially in the recent past. And I think, I believe some of it also went to India. So, yeah, we've got a very good relationship. You know, and we're currently doing a set again for each one at the moment, actually. And each set is, you know, a cotton and a SIMTEX going into a machine. So, as I said, they're very much going for, in some respects, some are still cotton, whatever, or also have polyamide in it. But a lot of the combinations now for specific calendars that we are making with these two manufacturers is one cotton, one SIMTEX. Well, we are represented through the gauze, and as I said, I will be coming to India at some point next year. Regarding paper or embossing rolls as such, we're not represented yet because the gauze specialized really in textiles. So that is some place where we still sort of need to make inroads into India. And you know, it's something that has to be developed. You know, and I do think SIMTEX would be great for India. And I've spoken to Mr. Gore about it quite a lot. I think they're, again, because of the double lifetime it has. So you're basically, you know, getting two special rolls for the price of one. If you're using it in cotton terms, you know, you don't have this thing that you actually have to take the cotton roll out of the machine, get it recovered, etc. You actually, you know, you save money by transport and all of these things. So it's a really good roll because it can handle absolutely everything. So that's, I think SIMTEX is really the way to go for India as well. But of course, we're doing lots of no-laps and Robertas and Robertex and SIMCasts. Because SIMCast is, we're doing it like RHL. And we've delivered quite a few in Asia now. But in the Indian market, I think there's still this question about, well, we knew RHL, but we don't know KWF Hilger. So, you know. But the polymer rolls we do just as good as RHL, because actually the guy from RHL that used to do it in Bolton now does it in Germany. So there you go. I mean, obviously there's some, especially if you buy locally, the rolls are cheaper, that's obvious. And they're good supplies locally as well. I think that I've got to be honest with this. I think that if you have a technically challenging environment, you know, if certain parameters are difficult, I think that, I hope it's not presumptuous to say, but I think we can deal with that situation better than maybe some other people. Because it's really some of the stuff, as I mentioned, the Robertex now for Pakistan, that's pretty challenging. And in Germany, we do have incredibly very good engineering and very good sort of laboratories and R&D and very clean production. That's another thing. It's got to be an incredibly clean production. And people that, you know, even Anthony that came to my workshop went, my God, I've never seen such a clean workshop. Because a workshop has got to be meticulous, you know, really, because you cannot have any foreign elements in the roll. And maybe it's because I'm a woman, I don't know. I'm always walking in the workshop going, guys, clean this up, clean this up. So I think especially when it's a bit more of a difficult thing, you know, or you're trying to change, you're trying to, you know, speed up your machines or trying to make certain parameters maybe more challenging. Yes. I know, for example, from one client, and we've had over lots of years, there was somebody in Europe that came in and wanted to do rolls for them. And we've had this on several fronts. This one particular company came in with cheaper price. So of course, you know, a few of my clients went for it. And these were, for example, for textile rolls, cotton rolls, but returned to us within 4 months because our rolls were better. And, you know, you can't always look at price because you got to know what the roll does and what its lifetime is. Because it turned out that you can regrind our roll twice more than the competitor's roll. So that saves money. So, you know, there's nothing to be, in the end, it goes back to the principle that my role is my advertising. There's nothing, you know, I can, you know, do whatever on LinkedIn or whatever. That doesn't mean anything. The proof is in the pudding. And if our clients, thankfully, come back to us going, no, actually, you know what, KWF Hilger rolls are better. I'm just going to stick with that because they always work. And what we also do, and I strongly believe in this, our clients, it's a partnership between them and me. You know, I speak to them regularly on the phone. If they've got problems, they call me. And what we do for our clients too is keep certain stocks, etc., so that we can help them. In today's world, especially in Europe, people don't really have, they don't hold stock in rolls. Do you know what I mean? They used to. But, you know, recovered rolls in some sort of, you know, just lying around, it ties up cash, right? And so less and less, they're inclined to have less and less replacement rolls lying around. So what we've been doing is we've been keeping certain things ready for them. I recently had somebody from Austria, a big paper company, calling me, and because they're trying to save their cash, they didn't really have a replacement and something went wrong in the calendar. And we had everything ready. So the truck was standing outside on Friday, sort of around 12 o'clock-ish. We got the roll, we completely recovered it, and it was ready to go on Monday by lunchtime. The truck was already waiting and it went. Now that's how you help a client. Now you are always there for them. If they have a problem, you're there. I mean, if somebody has a problem with a roll, you know, some people don't answer their emails, I immediately do. It's like very proactive. It's a partnership. But what's also very important, which some clients do not understand, and this is incredibly important also for the squeezing roll scenario, The client's got to be really honest with what kind of production they're running. You know, for example, as far as the squeezing rods is concerned, what is in the liquid, the kind of chemicals, you know, pH or alkaline, all of this stuff, but also regarding textile, normal textile, or paper calendaring. You got to give me the information, because we'll take that information and design the roll for you. But a lot of clients don't do that. And then we make a roll, but because we don't know one or two of the parameters, it might not work. So it's an open relationship. It's a sharing of information, because we can only make the roll for you if we've got all the information. And that's something I find also a little bit, you know, in some parts of the world, people are reluctant because they think, oh, well, maybe she'll tell my competitor, whatever. I've had that. No, it doesn't go further than my desk. But in the effort of making the roll that's right for your production, I need to know these factors. Within Europe, I do it personally. I speak 4 languages, so that's okay. I do it directly. Of course, in India, I rely on Mr. Gore, or the 2 Mr. Gores. And of course, we will do anything and everything. You know, a lot can be done with photos or videos, etc. But knock on wood, as I said, and I'm knocking very heavily here. I mean, we haven't had a recall on a roll, honest to God, at least 3 years, at least. And we've made a lot of rolls. We did, for one client, we did, in a span of 5 years, we did 196 cotton rolls, and we did not have one single complaint. Not one single one. And, you know, I hope it stays this way. Nobody's perfect, but I hope it does stay this way. Well, first of all, you know, Germany went into lockdown at the middle of March. So we effectively, the workshop was effectively closed for a month. And some of my people, again, are coming from abroad, so they couldn't get back to work. So some of these people were off for 6 months. So during the time of the 15th of March till about the 1st of May, there wasn't any production really. Minimal. But I managed to keep all my staff on, and I managed to keep them all paid on their normal salary. And when, you know, then everybody had a corona test, and which we got results of within 24 hours. And then everybody went back to work, and they've been working full steam ever since, you know, including weekends, not only to catch up, but I'm very pleased to say we've got quite a lot of orders, which pleasantly surprises me. I wanted above all to remain being respected for its quality. It's never again about the biggest and the most rolls or the best. It's, you know, as they say, it's never who screams the loudest. We're not one of those companies. I don't, you know, sort of do that. We might actually for the first time have a stand and meet them next time. I want us to remain being known for our quality, and of course, try to get more people around the world to get to know us and get to know our service and what we do. And above all, what is for me has always been important, being able to have client contact, direct, being able to speak to the head of production. And that's really important. I'm very much a people person. You know, everybody can call me up at any point in time. That's not a problem. So it's the being in the midst of it with everything and good quality rolls. Whether, you know, the workshop will be expanded, whether we set up a workshop in Asia, I can't tell. If we can, great, wonderful. It's very difficult when we've just had a year and a half of such enormous, you know, with all the machinery and everything, with such enormous turmoil, so much work. It's difficult already now to think where we're going next. It's sort of, we're still sort of recuperating from this one. But above all, quality. That we're still known for quality, and that we hopefully design a couple of more incredible covers like SIMTEX. Be at the forefront of technical innovation.